As a Christian, who do you follow? Do you follow a person or do you follow God? This is no easy to answer obvious question. After over 20 years in the ministry, almost 30, I've seen people leave the church because they followed and based their faith not on God, but on a fallen pastor or leader in the church. Wikipedia defines a cult of personality as arising when an individual uses mass media, propaganda, or other methods, here's the thing, to create an idealized, heroic, and at times worshipful image. When I hear the phrase cult of personality, I can't help but think of the video and the song from Living Color. Some lines in that song say, I sell the things you need to be. I'm the smiling face on your TV. I exploit you, still you love me. The last thing gets me is where he says, I tell you one and one makes three. I'm the cult of personality. Those lines fit pretty well into a problem the Corinthian church was having with some people saying they were following Paul the apostle and others saying they were following Cephas and others following and saying they followed a guy named Apollos. This is like us saying today that, oh, I follow this pastor or that pastor, or I go to this church, I follow that church. Once we take our eyes off of Jesus and put them on anyone else to follow them, we are in trouble. In fact, if we're following people, we're still just spiritual babies. This is what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 3. He says, brothers, I could not address you as spiritual, but as worldly, mere infants in Christ. I gave you milk, not solid food, for you are not yet ready for it. Indeed, he says, you are still not ready. You are still worldly. He says, are you not acting like mere men? For when one says, I follow Paul, and another says, I follow Apollos, are you not mere men? What, after all, Paul says, is Apollos? And what is Paul? Only servants through whom you came to believe. He goes on and finishes by saying, I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, but God made it grow. So neither he who plants nor he who waters is anything, but only God who makes things grow. Only God is anything. Our leaders in the church are people through whom we come to believe, but in whom we should not believe. Think about it. Do you think that there have been times when we in the church have created an idealized, heroic, and at times worshipful image of our leaders? It's not difficult to do, and we see it all the time. I support this pastor. I support that pastor. I go to this church, that church. People, you are the church. You can recognize a cult of personality developing when people look upon other people as being just under Jesus in perfection, as someone who is just outside the Trinity and who you can never believe would do anything wrong, say the F word, or cut people off on the freeway and flip them off. If you don't think your leaders are capable of that, then you better check who you are following and turn your eyes to the perfect Jesus.